The idea of Birthwrong started as a drunk joke. It was a group of us sitting round in a pub and thinking to ourselves how much Israel sort of dominates our Jewish life and our Jewish culture, and what we need is an alternative. What we need is a Birthwrong.
Viva la quinta brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Viva la quinta brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Que nos cubrirá de glorias, ay Carmela, ay Carmela. Que nos cubrirá de glorias, ay Carmela, ay Carmela.
It really fits with a lot of what Judas does. We use this term diasporist, and part of what we mean by that is not Judaism that's not centered around Israel, but another part of what we mean is about really focusing on diaspora Jewish cultures and what they've created over history, and finding the specificities of Jewish life, not this kind of vague ersatz Jewish life which is globalized and the same in every country, but different Jewish cultures with their strange, peculiar, diverse histories.
Here in Andalusia was such a fantastic place, such a rich history of Judaism and of radicalism. It would be the perfect place to come and explore our identities, our histories and our heritage as Jews.
But Andalusia is a particularly interesting place for us to come to because it really was an incredibly rich Jewish society under Muslim rule, and there was many centuries of Jews living there, producing rich culture, poetry, music, philosophy, and they were not guests. They were very much at home. They were very much building the society. And I think we have too many Jews have a view of diaspora culture as just temporary, passing through. We're just waiting for it to end and go to Israel. No, this was permanent. It was as permanent as Jewish life was in Israel, and that ended too. So nothing is permanent in life. But this is a powerful place, and it really has this resonance. And we've been in places like Cordoba and Seville, where we've learned about just how much Jewish life there was, and I think that's a positive message for diaspora communities today.
The reason that I was so excited to take the trip to Cordoba is that I had visited Cordoba about 5 years ago. It was the first holiday away that I had with my now husband, and it was in the middle of my conversion process to Judaism. Cordoba was honestly the first place that I felt like Jewish was something that I was instead of something that I wanted to be. It was the first place where that identity for me just really locked in. On that holiday, I bought this necklace, which I wear every day. It's a Chai necklace, and it's a Hamsa, and it's now like my everyday Jewish necklace. But I bought it at Casa de Sefarad, which then we took the tour there. And the woman, when I came to give the deposit, recognized it, and she said, "Did you buy that here?" And I said, "Yes, I did, like 6 years ago." And so that moment of connection, like across time and across space, was really validated that lock-in for me.
Andalusia has a beautiful, rich history of Jews, Muslims and Christians working together, collaborating with each other and talking to each other. And out of that history, out of that culture has come some of the greatest thinkers in Jewish history. We've had Maimonides, Yehuda Halevi, Solomon ibn Gabirol, Ibn Ezra. All of these developed great Jewish philosophy, great Jewish poetry, music and liturgy.
We've come to Marinaleda, which is a functioning communist village and an example of functioning anarchic or communist communities that have existed in Andalusia historically. It's a place where idealism hasn't died and where people still believe and are proving that another way of life outside of the capitalist system is possible. It also ties in with our kind of mission of Birthwrong to prove that alternatives are possible.
So I'm
here today at May Day, which is an International Workers' Day, to celebrate our victories as a class, but also to plan new ones. We're here as Judas to represent a kind of radical diasporic alternative to the mainstream Zionist narrative that we get. That actually is a radical tradition that we can reclaim, one that's committed to worker struggle, it's committed to liberation, to social justice in the truest sense of the term. Today represents the best moments of our history, it represents worker struggle, it represents the struggle of these people here who are fighting for their rights, and our movement as a whole.
So one of the reasons that we came to Spain for the first Birthwrong trip, because of the Spanish Civil War and the significant history of Jews fighting in the Spanish Civil War. In the international brigades, almost a quarter of the entire international force were Jewish. Around 40% of the American brigades, over 40% of the Polish brigades, 22% of the British brigades. There was a separate Jewish company, a Yiddish-speaking company with a Yiddish newspaper and Yiddish broadcasts, who were recognised and welcomed. For Jews, this was also a way, one of the examples in Jewish history where Jews are living openly as Jews, defining themselves differently with their language and their culture, and yet at the same time being part of something wider, having solidarity with other people in one struggle.
As an Israeli, it was really important for me to come to Birthwrong because where we grew up, the most scary thing for Jewish people is the idea to not have a monopoly of sovereignty, to be living in a situation of diaspora, and we are brainwashed our whole life to think that this is nothing except oppression and annihilation for our people to live these lives of diaspora. So the diasporic philosophy is really important for me to learn and to really get both in my knowledge and in my emotions the kind of idea that we can actually be really rich and powerful and beautiful in our heritage and culture and way of life, actually once we give up sovereignty and live in a diasporic way. And I think that's something that Israel mentality could very much adapt.
I can't believe that Birthwrong actually happened with this group that called itself Judas. I mean, we don't have anything like that in the US. It's not just a publicity stunt. It's actually a real thing that has the potential to become a movement.
Yeah, I would definitely come on Birthwrong again. I would help organise it in the future. I think it's a really amazing project. I hope it gets bigger and bigger. I hope we get to a point where Birthwrong is bigger than Birthright.
Viva la quinta brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Viva la quinta brigada, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Que nos cubrirá de glorias, ay Carmela, ay Carmela. Que nos cubrirá de glorias, ay Carmela, ay Carmela. Luchamos contra los moros, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Luchamos contra los moros, rumba la rumba la rumba la. Mercenarios y fascistas, ay Carmela, ay Carmela. Mercenarios y fascistas, ay Carmela, ay Carmela.